Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of July 4th through the 10th of 2022. All right, so this week we have some important sign changes and we are in the first quarter moon of the lunar cycle. So first of all, we had that new moon about Wednesday time period of last week. And so this week we are coming into the first challenges of that in this first quarter moon. And so it is good to implement, take action, challenge ourselves to implement any new insights, any new shifts, or new perspectives from the new moon about a week ago. Now the sign changes are Mercury is going into Gemini around the Monday, Tuesday time period. A much more comfortable placement for Mercury, of course, being his home sign where he loves to be. So coming out of the more steady, grounded energies of Taurus with our minds, more slow, steady mind energy, and moving more into the interested, curious, very flexible, light on our toes, curiosity. And so this more faster paced energy is more comfortable for our minds now moving forward. Then on Thursday, Mars comes out of very uncomfortable Pisces and moves into his home sign of Aries. And so when it comes to action and initiative, we are coming out from the ethers, we are coming out from the oceans, the areas where it's been more important to go with the flow, get more rest, more internalized things when it comes to those actions. But now Mars in fiery Aries is great for more of that initiative, more of that directness, that action from about Thursday onwards. All right, and then in terms of the aspects, they are a bit minor this week, but the most important one would be around Saturday. Mercury, the planet of our minds, will be scoring up to more expansive Jupiter, so it could be a good weekend for maybe learning about some abstract things, expanding our minds a little bit, maybe a bit of adventurous spirit as well. All right, so let's go and take a look at all this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for the week of July 4th, starting first with Monday, July 4th of 2022. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology. Unfortunately, in mainstream astrology, they do not use the visible sky. And so you will notice the signs change. Signs are different. And so if you are new to this channel, definitely check out the link down below for more information on using the visible sky called True Sidereal Astrology. All right, so let's do a bit of a recap because we have already had some sign changes from last week. And of course, we're having some sign changes, some important sign changes this week. So first of all, coming into the week, the sun will still be in Gemini. This is where the last lunar cycle started around Wednesday of last week. This current lunar cycle, Wednesday of last week. And so things are just building momentum, but coming into this week, we are certainly entering into the more action-oriented phase, especially about from the Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and onward type of time period. And so challenging ourselves to implement stuff this week, anything from last week's new moon, new perspectives, new energy, new beginnings. And we could come to our first challenges with the cycle, but this is just another way of saying that it is good to challenge ourselves and to set intentions and build. Squares are very much about building and moving things forward and challenging ourselves to do that. But with the sun in Gemini, the context is about learning. The context is about being curious and interested, being more flexible, more adaptive in life, right? Light on our toes, curious, willing to learn. And so this is definitely great to continue to focus on this week, and where Mercury is going to be shifting into. So Mercury is coming out of more grounded Taurus, where our minds have been, more, let's say, important to go slowly, steadily, stop to smell the roses. It's been more, about taking things more on a grounded approach with the mental activities, which is not the most comfortable, place. But Mercury now going into his home sign of Gemini really is comfortable. And so our minds will likely be a little more faster paced, be easier for things that involve mental or communication activities. And again, adding to that interest, that curiosity, that flexibility, that really is what this lunar cycle is about. Now, Venus is still in Taurus. So in terms of what we're valuing and enjoying it is still good to enjoy the slow and steady aspects of life, especially in those relationships as Venus can often represent. And so again, stopping to smell the roses, maybe enjoying some nature, some abundance, some good meals, the senses, things like this. Still great to be connecting to life in that way, most certainly with Venus here. And Mars finishing up Pisces this early part of the week up until about Thursday, Friday. And so we are slowly emerging out from the ethers when it comes to our actions, when it comes to our drive, our initiative, our goals, our ambitions, the ego type of stuff, things we want, things we need, and going into much more fiery placement from Thursday onwards. But still, this early part of the week, still good for a bit of that receptive action, listening, turning a bit inward, going with the flow, maybe completing some of these major experiences or major lessons that we've learned collectively about this from really over the past 2 months plus with Mars in Pisces. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look now at the aspects and break this down one day at a time here. So Monday, we do have the moon in Leo, finishing up the Leo energy from the weekend. So from last weekend, it was good to have some self-expression, some playfulness, some fun, and Monday's no exception to that. We will still be finishing that self-expression energy of Leo. And this is still, again, in the early phase of the lunar cycle as we start to build some momentum. But once we do get to that Tuesday and onward time, the moon will be in more grounded Virgo, which is where the moon squares the sun in this first quarter phase. And so, again, it becomes good to challenge ourselves. And the challenge here is how can we maintain, again, more flexibility, but Gemini and Virgo do it in different ways. So Gemini's flexibility is the flexibility to be curious, interested, being willing to learn and exchange with others. But Virgo is more about creating structure through habits, through routines, through discipline, self-discipline. And so a great way of working with this energy is, particularly while the moon's here, so this will be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, to challenge ourselves to implement these habits and these routines, these structures, these things we can automate in our life that do create more flexibility, right? Because Virgo is mutable, and so it is creating more flexibility through routine, through habits, through creating systems and structures, through self-discipline, right? Having something automated, a habit that automatically happens that we don't have to think about. And as it becomes automated, it frees up our mind and allows us to be more flexible because then we can adapt much more easily to other things. So that's the challenge, is how can we be curious, interested, learning on our feet, adaptive, quick, which is the air of Gemini, but also create some stability through structure, particularly through routines and improvement, which is the earth mutability of Virgo. And challenging ourselves to do that this middle part of the week is a fantastic way of working with really this week and really the lunar cycle at large, because it is the first quarter where, again, a lot of things do get built, a lot of important actions do take place, and then this leads to what is a potential harvest of it during the full moon, which will be next week. Okay, now some of these, as I said, minor aspects. So on Tuesday, Mercury will be sextiling Mars, so there is just a bit of an opening for, again, a little bit more mental energy. This could express itself as an opening to be a bit direct or assertive or very independent-minded, or possibly even with those communications as well, or anything involving correspondence with that. On Wednesday, Venus will be sextiling Chiron. Really nothing major here, but just an opening for anything that could be involving those relationships or connecting to life, again, in that more resourceful way, that more grounded way of Taurus. But in that way, it could be a bit healing, maybe a bit therapeutic. Maybe that good meal or some nature could be quite healing or therapeutic there. Just an opening for some rejuvenation, some healing, minor transformation, reintegration with Venus sextile Chiron there. All right, and then as we do get to that Wednesday time period, Thursday, the last transit of the moon in Virgo, again, some of that improvement nature. But this is where we'll start to likely feel this Mars slowly coming into his home sign of Aries. So Mars on Thursday will be closer to Aries than Pisces on Thursday. And so in this way, for the next roughly month, it is, month plus actually, it is very good for this more fiery energy. We'll likely feel more of that assertiveness, more of that independence, more of that fire. Taking action, taking initiative with things will become easier. Still important to take those lessons we learned about Pisces, which is still going with the flow and being receptive and connecting to our soul. Because what's the point of all this action if we aren't connected to our soul, of course, and the spiritual meaningfulness of life? But nonetheless, yes, Aries is very much of that fiery nature. And so we could see that really spark personally and collectively, and channeling that constructively in healthy ways through maybe goals, through maybe physical exercise, through activity, through healthy assertiveness and independence. This is all very much highlighted and just very much good to work with while Mars is here. And Mars will be going retrograde this year. We'll be, of course, covering this as we get closer to it, but from around October 30th until January 13th of next year, we are going to be going back and redoing and re-examining a lot of where we're putting our action and energy, mostly in the context of Taurus, where Mars will be when he does that. But just something to maybe perhaps keep in the back of our minds as we will be going through a reworking, a reflecting, a redoing process in regards to a lot of this active stuff the later part of the year. All right, so that's the sign change of Mars into Pisces there around Thursday. And then going into Friday, we start to come out out of that first quarter moon. We'll probably start to notice a little bit more momentum, a little bit more wind in our sails as we do approach the gibbous phase of the lunar cycle, the trine phase between the sun and moon. And we do have a different sign to work with here. Or Friday, the moon will still be in Virgo. The moon will still be in Virgo on Friday. Saturday, Sunday is where we'll likely start to notice a little bit more of that momentum and wind in our sails going into next week. But also here on Friday, this is the most important aspect we have this week, which is where Mercury, the planet of our minds, is squaring up to expansive Jupiter. And so this is the practical and the abstract in a bit of a square. And again, the square is towards imbalance. It is the more challenging kind of imbalance energy. And this is where our natural tendency might be to go over or under extreme with buoyancy, with optimism, with possibilities, with foresight, these things that are more abstract in nature, but finding the healthy way of channeling that constructively. Great time for anything involving spirituality, philosophy, higher learning, higher knowledge, adventurousness with the mind, letting the mind expand a little bit, basically get into the abstract realms, but in a constructive way, and building it. And so this will be Friday and Saturday. This aspect here will be the later part of Friday going into Saturday. But again, the strongest one of the week will probably be feeling both days there. On a minor note, on Friday, the sun will be squaring Chiron, so this could be somewhat important if there's been anything healing related in your life. Friday could be a good time to challenge yourself to do that, whether it's physical healing, spiritual, mental, emotional healing, anything like that personally that you do want to challenge yourself to implement could actually be quite constructive in a yearly sense there around Friday. Okay. But once we do get to Saturday, the moon will be in Libra. Again, a little bit more momentum as then we do get into the trine energy where the moon will be in a fellow air sign relative to the sun in Gemini. And so Saturday, maybe some themes around fairness, what's right, what's balanced, what's just, and anything on that level could be good. Again, we'll still have a bit of that expansive mind with the Mercury square Jupiter. And then on Sunday, the moon will be shifting into deep Scorpio. And this is a day where it could be good to unveil and uncover deep things in life. It's a little bit easier to do this in this phase of the lunar cycle than other times. This is a challenging place for the moon to be in, but we're in here once a month, and this is a more supportive month for it, easier month for it, let's say. So research, uncovering deep things, uncovering the underworld about ourselves or life in general could be great around Sunday. And we do have another minor sextile here. The sun sextiling Uranus may be good for just mixing some things up over the weekend, thinking outside the box. Maybe a bit of individual self-expression. The sun and Uranus about self-expression. The sun is just us shining. Uranus is about individuality. And so a bit of individual self-expression, a little bit of challenging the status quo, a little bit of allowing that true self to come through could be also great over the weekend. All right, so quite a bit going on, but it's very straightforward, I would say. First quarter moon this week, good to challenge ourselves towards implementing any new shifts from last week's new moon. We have sign changes, which is shifts of perspective. On Monday, right off the bat, into Tuesday, Mercury is entering Gemini, much more comfortable place for our minds. Curiosity, interest, learning, and communication should start to pick up and flow a bit there. The Thursday time period, Mars will be starting to go into fiery Aries, which is making it easier for that fire energy of assertiveness, independence, directness, things like that. And some aspects on the more minor side this week, but a little bit of healing on Friday, a little bit of an expansive mind on Friday and Saturday, and perhaps a little bit of spontaneity or individual self-expression on Sunday. All right, so everyone have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a free newsletter where you do get these videos released first before YouTube and extra content not normally released on YouTube. So if you're not yet signed up, definitely sign up for that down below. Have a great week, everyone, and I'll see you all next week for the next Astrology Forecast. Take care.